I work at a small marketing firm downtown, and I'd been receiving these strange letters at the office for about 2 months now. They always came in a plain envelope with no return address, the handwriting almost too neat, each letter carefully typed out. At first, they were kind of flattering. My secret admirer would compliment my smile, say how lucky everyone at work was to see me every day. Harmless stuff, I thought. By the 4th or 5th letter, though, things started feeling off. I noticed the messages were getting specific. One letter mentioned my red sweater. You looked stunning in it yesterday. That wouldn't be so weird, except for the fact that the sweater was pretty new, and I hadn't worn it around the office much yet. Another letter commented on a lunch conversation I'd had with my co-worker Tom about a big presentation. I couldn't shake the feeling that someone had overheard us, but I brushed it off. After all, our office wasn't exactly private. Still, the letters kept coming, and the details only got more personal. There were mentions of my usual coffee order, compliments on the blue scarf I'd worn on Tuesday, or even comments on how often I look out the window from my desk. My heart started sinking every time I saw an envelope on my desk. I told myself it was harmless, maybe even a prank by one of my co-workers, but a part of me felt something darker lurking under it all. Then last Friday, I got a letter that was just wrong. It said, "I hope you slept well. The blue light on your nightstand is so comforting." My nightstand, the one in my bedroom with the small blue light from my phone charger. How could they know that? The letter's timing lined up too well. I'd woken up that morning feeling like I hadn't been alone, like something in my room was off. But when I looked around, everything seemed normal, and I shrugged it off as paranoia. After that letter though, I couldn't shake the dread. I'd started avoiding looking out the office window and checked over my shoulder when I left work, always expecting to see someone there. My friends told me to go to the police, but I felt ridiculous. What would I even say? I'm getting creepy notes from someone who claims they know what colour my phone charger light is. But the worst letter arrived Monday morning. No typed words this time, no flattering comments or creepy familiarity, just a single photo. It was me, curled up on my side in bed, the room dark, except for the glow from my phone charger casting shadows over my face. My stomach dropped as I stared at it, unable to breathe. The walls of the office suddenly feeling closer and closer around me. Someone had been in my bedroom, standing right there at my window, looking in at me as I slept. They weren't just watching from afar anymore. They'd crossed a line, come into my life in a way that made my skin crawl. I haven't stayed at my place since. I'm crashing at a friend's house, sleeping with the blinds closed and the lights on. The police didn't find any fingerprints on the window or the letters, and every day I dread finding another envelope at work. But so far, it's been silent. Maybe they're still out there, just waiting. I started jogging at night to clear my head. Work had been brutal, and honestly, there's something weirdly peaceful about running through quiet streets with just the sound of my footsteps echoing around me. I'm usually out around 10 p.m, but I'd vary the time depending on my mood, sometimes even as late as midnight. It was a few weeks into this new routine when I noticed him. Just a regular looking guy, in his 30s maybe, always a few paces behind me. The first couple of times, I thought it was just a coincidence, but it started to get predictable. I'd leave my house at random times, but somehow, there he'd be, in my periphery, jogging just behind me. He never ran ahead or fell behind, just kept his pace, close enough that I couldn't ignore him, but far enough that I couldn't exactly confront him, either. It bugged me, but I brushed it off. Public streets, I told myself. He's just another night runner, probably just has the same route. Still, after a couple of weeks, it was getting impossible to ignore. I'd try switching up my routes, taking unexpected turns, but somehow he was always there. Silent, just trailing. Then, one night, I decided I'd had enough. I was about halfway through my usual loop when I felt him there again. It was like a prickling feeling on the back of my neck. I glanced over my shoulder. Yep, there he was. I slowed my pace, hoping maybe he'd take the hint and pass, but he didn't. So I stopped abruptly, forcing him to either pass me or stop too. That's when things got weird. He stopped too, just a few feet back. He wasn't out of breath, wasn't stretching, just staring. It was the first time I'd actually gotten a clear look at his face. He looked familiar somehow, but not in a good way. His expression was blank, almost like he was studying me. I opened my mouth to ask if he was okay, but he spoke first, in this low, almost whispery voice. I was waiting for you to notice. Every instinct in my body screamed at me to move, but I was frozen, trying to process what he'd just said. I managed to force out, "What do you mean?" He didn't answer. Instead, he tilted his head, like he was amused, and his face changed. Or maybe I imagined it. But there was this flash of something inhuman in his eyes. Like he wasn't just a man, but something else wearing a man's skin. The air felt wrong, heavy. It was like we were the only two people left in the world. I stumbled back, my voice shaking as I said, "I'm going now," hoping to break whatever strange hold he had on me. He didn't move, didn't try to follow, just watched me, that eerie smile still frozen on his face. I ran home, heart pounding the entire way. I haven't jogged at night since, and I don't think I ever will again. But every now and then, when I'm out walking or running errands, I swear I catch a glimpse of him in a crowd, just watching. I don't know who or what he is, but he wasn't just a man out for a night jog, and I don't think he was waiting for me by accident. About 2 months ago, I started getting strange packages. At first, it was nothing I thought much about. Cheap plastic bracelets, keychains, silly knickknacks. I assumed it was some marketing gimmick gone wrong. No sender name, no return address, just my name and address. I'd chuckle and toss them aside, but they kept coming, and they started feeling a little personal. One day, I got a box that was different from the others. When I opened it, inside was my favourite chocolate bar, the one I'd mentioned in passing to a few close friends. I chalked it up to coincidence and left it on the counter. Then, a few days later, I got another package. This time, it was a bottle of the perfume I wear every day. That specific brand, that specific scent. It felt off, but still, I thought maybe it was some prank, or that a friend was messing with me. But when I received a package containing a photograph of me at my office, taken from outside, things shifted. I was sitting at my desk, completely unaware that someone was watching me. On the back of the photo, written in neat, small handwriting, was a message, "For my favourite." Every box that arrived after that had a similar note inside, "For my favourite." It was signed with just a scribble of ink, like a half-drawn smiley face. It didn't feel like a prank anymore. It felt wrong. I'd never felt so exposed, so watched. I tried to reach out to the delivery company, but without a sender name or tracking info, they were no help. Friends told me to call the police, but what could they do? I had no proof of a threat, just unwanted, cryptic packages. After that, I started paying attention. I watched the street from my windows, waiting for whoever was behind this. Most nights, I'd be too nervous to sleep, and would just sit there, waiting for something, anything. Then, one night, I saw someone walking up to my door. It was nearly midnight, and he was holding a box. I squinted, trying to make out his face in the dim streetlight. And that's when I realized it was a guy I recognized. A barista from the coffee shop I used to go to every morning. We chatted now and then, the usual small talk, but I hadn't gone there in weeks. The next day, I went to the coffee shop. I tried to play it cool and asked him if he was the one sending me things. He smiled, this weird, tight-lipped grin, and said, "I just wanted you to feel special. You used to come in every morning, talk to me about your day. Then you just stopped. I miss that." I told him as calmly as I could to stop. He nodded and said he understood, but I could see something in his eyes. He didn't believe me. He thought we had a connection. A week passed and the packages finally stopped. I went back to my normal life, hoping it was over. But today, I got another box. Inside was a photo of me taken just last night, asleep in my bed. The note simply read, "I knew you'd come back to me." Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and check out my other content on the screen now.